All right. I call to order the Lynchburg Planning Commission meeting for July 8th, 2026. And the first order of business is the approval of the May 27th, 2026 and June 10th, 2026 minutes. Are there any additions or corrections to these minutes? Second. All in favor? Aye. All right. Opposed? Yeah. That was for both.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. The next order of business is the following hearing item, which would be the petition of RAA Enterprises LLC to rezone approximately 1 105,000th acre located at 533 Leesville Road from B1 Limited Business District to B3 Community Business District to allow the development of the site as a rental space, a rental office space with parking in front of the structure.
All right. Thank you, Vice Chair, members of the Planning Commission. As stated, the purpose of the petition is to rezone to allow for an office with a parking lot in the front. Our future land use map currently recommends medium density residential use for the property. These are characterized by smaller lot, single-family detached housing, duplexes, and townhomes. The property is currently zoned B1, limited business, which the city's zoning ordinance describes as a district that allows for office, retail, restaurant, and service uses that are compatible with nearby residential areas because they are in scale with adjacent neighborhood development and have pedestrian-oriented designs. The purpose of the rezoning to B3 Community Business District is to allow the development of the site as the rental office with the parking in the front. The parking in the front is the part that's not permitted by the current B1 Limited Business District rezoning, zoning. Since one commissioner asked about it in an email, I'll share the same info here because for the benefit of the commission. The property adjacent to this, the property adjacent to this is also zoned to B1 and does have parking in the front. That property was developed around 2008, and when our zoning ordinance was updated in 2016, the B1 district was expanded to allow for more uses. Because B1 districts are intended to be located near residential areas, when we kind of opened up that district to more uses, that meant there could be additional impact on residential. So the requirement for making parking be behind the front wall was added at that time to make these commercial areas more compatible with neighborhoods. Allowing the parking behind the front building line kind of allows for a transition between commercial and residential uses, kind of protecting those residential uses. Planning staff has concerns about rezoning the property for the sole purpose of allowing the parking in the front of the building. When the B district is designed to provide neighborhood scale development near residential, the property is bound to the west by townhomes and a church. There are office uses adjoining the property to the north, and to the south and east, there are single-family residential uses. And while there are other commercial uses in the area with parking in the front, zoning ordinances can change over time as they did in 2016, and physical change can take longer to see come to fruition as new development or redevelopment occurs. But the ordinance was specifically changed with a vision of neighborhood scale businesses in mind. Having parking being located so that it's not so front and center helps those commercial uses fit into a neighborhood as well as protects the residences nearby. The city's technical review committee reviewed this petition on June 16th. The planning division recommends denial of the petition. As noted in the memo that was sent out yesterday, the petitioner submitted a proffer for consideration by the commission. The report was distributed prior to that proffer coming in, so it doesn't mention it. But the proffer would limit the property to by right B1 district uses. Thank you.
Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of this petition? If you don't mind, state your name and sign in, please.
Yeah, sure. My name is Norm Walton. Good evening. Mr. Chair, members of the commission. My name is Norm Walton. I'm the engineer of record and representing the applicant here. And quite simply, we are asking for only to be rezoned to allow parking in the front. As Rachel mentioned, there are several businesses adjacent, and even the church right across the road all have parking in the front. When this site was designed, the original intent, as you can see the entrance coming in, kind of is conducive to that layout, as well as the topography from Leesville Road to the back. There's a significant elevation change, and so the intent is to have a two-story building here. Dr. Anderson, the dentist next door, owns this business's property as well and wants to develop this. Since it's 2 stories, it would, and a medical services facility would be better and easier, we think, for the customers, clients, and patients if we have parking in the front and the rear for ease of access to both levels. The terrace level will be lease spaces as well as the upper space. So to keep this pretty simple, that's the intent of the request. We don't think this is an intrusion into the neighborhood, since the church across the road and several other businesses adjacent have parking in the front. We think it'll fit in and look nice. So we have a rendering in the package. I hope you saw that. Zach Baldridge is the contractor, and an impressive looking structure. So if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
That question about the entrance, where I think I see, but I just want to verify where on the drawing is the entrance, or where on the property would the entrance to this building be located?
So there are, I think it's 5 bays. And so there will be 5 front doors. You speaking of the front door or the entrance to the roadway?
The vehicle entrance.
So it's going to utilize the existing entrance that's there. So we're going to connect to that entrance. So we're not requesting a new entrance onto Leesville Road. It'll be a combined shared use entrance.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Is there anyone or any other questions? Excuse me. Is there anyone here to also speak in favor of this petition? Okay. Is there anyone that would like to offer a rebuttal or
And against, speaking against.
oh yeah, opposition? Anyone here to speak in opposition of this petition? Okay. So at this point, the hearing is closed, and commissioners, if there are any questions for city staff or the petitioner, please feel free.
I've got a couple questions here. So where it is common ownership, correct? Even though they're 2 separate entities under common ownership, the shared parking agreement is not applicable, correct, Rachel?
If it's under common ownership, they don't have to record a shared parking agreement if they need one, although I think they probably are exceeding minimums on both.
Right. I was just looking at it because I know there's a shared parking agreement that unless it's under common ownership, it doesn't have to happen. So I was just wanting to check there. And I just want to explain kind of where we're at with where recommended denial, where we are at B1 in terms of parking spaces required. There are a total, where it is a shared parking space, there would only be a required amount of parking spaces to the total of 37. In the lot next door at 525, there are 53 spots. So we would have to have, we're actually over for those 2 buildings, even if they were sharing a parking lot. At 533, the parking spaces behind the building total 23. So you're already above the required number of parking spots before the shared parking agreement, because it's 2 parking spots per 1,000 feet of floor space. So that equals 17. So in themselves, there's already enough parking spaces behind the building on that proposal to satisfy the B1 agreement with the zoning that we already have in place without the parking spaces in front. So we actually don't have to do anything. They could proceed with just the parking spaces behind the building and be in compliance. Just wanted to clarify that.
You're saying that, so there's plenty of parking under the current. So I guess what's the appeal? Yeah, Norm, if you don't mind, if that's okay, coming back up. What's the appeal to have the request for the parking in the front?
And thank you for that. Dr. Anderson has requested that many spaces. And the reason being is for turnover of patients. So if you have all of the dentist chairs, if they're all dentist chairs full of patients, they're there, the next platoon of patients will come in. So you almost need, I hate to say it, but double the parking on a dentist or doctor's office so you can rotate patients around. Dentist office, I think, are worse than a typical physician's office because they are so, I mean, we've all been to the dentist office and you know how people come and go on a regular basis. So I think dentists are more cognizant or aware or concerned about the parking and running out of parking as the patient turnover occurs. If this was a regular office complex, such as a CPA, lawyer, or whatever, I would absolutely agree with you. But because he has a medical facility and he's marking this for a medical facility, he's asked for the additional parking spaces. Thank you.
Just want to
Oh, yep.
as far as, I mean, you guys are the engineer, and just want to ask if there was any consideration given to moving the building forward to the street. And then you'd have like the lot that's in front placed in the back. Is that?
So the concern is the access. So if we have upper level rental, lower level rental, if we move it to the front, all the parking is in the back. Mm-hmm. And we could do that, but then that means we have to have a common elevator at worst case,
right,
which increases expense, or stairs, or people negotiating a steep grade around the building. And being a medical facility and the likelihood of older people with less abilities, we're concerned about that. Mm-hmm. So.
And what about if you were, was there any consideration given, and Rachel, I don't know the rule in the ordinance, but I mean, from looking at the packet, it appears that the concern is parking in front of the building. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what's not allowed by the B1 district. So that's why they're.
If they were to rotate the building 90 degrees and put the parking like that, is that I guess what is the definition of front, and how does that relate to?
So if the building were, like you said, rotated 90 degrees and maybe parking on either side to kind of the north-south orientation there, that would work. We talked about that with the engineer. He felt like it couldn't work because of the grade of the site, I guess. So we did explore that option.
If I'm going off of memory, and I think it's around about 20 foot of elevation change from where the sewer line is to where Leesville Road is at. There's a sewer line that crosses the back of the property. And I may be a foot or two off one way or the other, but that's generally it. It allows an easy basement exposure, so 10-foot floor to floor, but we still have a retaining wall on the back side of the lower parking lot to keep from grading over the sewer line. So I think it's about 20 feet.
So you're about 25 feet or so away from it's like 8-inch PVC line. Is that
the
line you're talking about?
Right. Yeah. And to Rachel's point, the contours are kind of paralleling Leesville Road, so they kind of stack down. So turning it 90 degrees, yeah, kind of makes it awkward.
Any other comments? Anything anyone wants to add?
Rachel, so currently is this currently a wooded lot, or has that been cleared?
It's mostly wood.
Okay. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Rachel, right now, what you have on one side is a commercial building, then you have the wooded lot, on the other side you have a house. And currently, I guess, I assume, is that house located, is that, what's the zoning where that house is? Do we know?
That is R3
R3.
residential.
Okay, so somebody's apparently living in it. So is the city's concern is primarily that this wooded lot serves as a buffer, or is it that moving from B1 to B3 is going to unpredictably, move this lot into something who knows what down the road?
Well, so the intent is not to prevent development on the site. It doesn't have to stay wooded, it's B1, it could be developed commercially by right. If the layout were different, right? The use is permitted by the district, but the layout that they have proposed is not.
So really, it's the parking lot matter. And
It is, and my concern is changing the zoning
does
to
more
get out
than
of the rule.
permit that, yeah.
Yeah, and they have proffered the use to align with the B1 district, so, I credit there. That is helpful, I think, to limit the uses, because B3 allows like drive-through restaurants and things like that.
Could we do a variance on the B1 in this case, just to allow them to put a parking lot in the front instead of changing the zoning?
No, so variances have to come through our Board of Zoning Appeals. They have to find a hardship with the petition, so basically like there's no other way to develop the
Wouldn't meet
site.
the criteria.
You could get a variance, but I think there are other ways to develop the site. It's just less convenient. I don't know that the BZA would be able to find a variance in that.
Can we do a conditional use permit to allow?
No.
Isn't the concern by planning staff the parking being where it would be though, right?
Right, because.
You're not looking
because-
for a way to allow it. That's the concern.
Right. Well, and I think I understand where the commission's coming from as well. I mean, I think you understand that maybe the petitioner's position and the slope and,
I don't
You
look at
know,
all the options.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Me, the issue is it's either the parking lot existing or it's, the fact of changing it from B1 to B3. If we change it to B3, then we open up a whole host of, Pandora's box of other things that could be down the road. Is that right? I mean, it looks that way.
They have proffered that it would be a B1 use. That's the memo that was sent out yesterday. They had a late edition of a proffer. So it would be a B1 use if this were approved.
And future land use says on that.
Future land use says medium density
density.
residential, basically. So we're already kind of out of sync
Yeah.
between the zoning and the future land use map. So I would say going in a B3 direction takes it further out of compliance. There is the possibility that a proffer could be eliminated later, but I think we have to focus on the petition at hand. So they would be limited to the B1 district uses within the site, but not the B1 development standard, which is the part that requires the parking be set back behind the front wall of the building.
What is the setback on the parking there? Limits, it looks like it's pretty close on the front. 20 feet
Yeah, I
off the
don't think the
property line.
label
Is
put
that
that
what
in
it is?
here. Yeah, it's 20 feet.
20 feet. And, yeah, that wouldn't really give you a lot of space to wrap around the side, would it?
One question about the future land use and this rule about no parking in front of a building in B1. Is that, I don't know if you know the historical basis for that or not, but I mean, is that, if we were concerned about citing B1 next to R1 or R2, say? I mean, because, I mean, it could be, I'm sure we have places in the city where there's B4 next to residential, right? I mean,
There probably are, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, my concern is the use is already allowed. If we're changing the zoning simply to get out of a requirement, I don't think that sets a good precedent. So
Agreed.
like the B3 district that they've shown here has a 20-foot parking setback. B5 if they, say another petition, and again, we should focus on the petition at hand, but I'm
Right.
talking in terms of precedent. B3 has a 20-foot parking setback. B5 has no parking setback. Really, all you need is a landscape strip, and you can build right up to the property line. So, if the next petition comes in and they say, well, we don't want to do a setback because we want to use every square inch of our parcel for parking, we're going to go B5 just so we get out of the requirement. It's. I understand the commission's predicament. It was tough to make a recommendation in this case as well, but I think we have to think long term. I think we have to think about the intent of the zoning change that, again, was intentional in 2016, where we said, okay, if we're going to open up the B1 district to more uses, like I don't think medical offices were previously permitted. If we're going to open that up to more uses, we need to make them compatible with neighborhoods, because B1 is designed to be next to neighborhoods. So that's my thought on it.
So what Eric is saying is, even without the parking in the front, the proposed rear parking meets the B1 zoning requirement for the type of building, square footage, and so forth for its use, right? Is that right? All right, so to revisit that, I don't know what you've got a site plan and everything, but and I'm just talking out of my hat here, obviously. If you move that building 20 feet forward, you could probably put another row in the back. But I don't know if that's feasible or not.
Just to reiterate, 53 spots next door at 525, 23 on the backside of 533, so you're at 76 total spots, when the requirement would be 37 according to code. So you got 39 more spots than that is what is required under the current B1 and shared parking requirements, even if there was a shared parking agreement in place. Just so everybody's aware.
I think the concern, though, is just the business model for that particular property. Yeah.
Any other comments? Someone like to make a motion?
I guess my rule of thumb is we rarely get petitions before us where planning staff recommends denial. Ironically, we seem to be getting, I think, 2 today, or 1.5. And so for me, it takes a lot to not support that denial. They don't do that very often. So I think there's always a good reason behind it. And so I tend to always, unless I can see a really legitimate reason for not following their denial recommendation, because that's just so rare to me, it's usually legitimate.
Yeah, my concern also is, I thought that when I was looking at these also, and, Rachel brings up the point of setting precedent moving forward. So I think, given that, personally, I'm having a hard time supporting this design, but,
And there
Yeah.
is parking.
yeah. There's a way to do it. It may not be the best way or the optimal way, but there's a way there that can be considered, I think. So. I guess, given that, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, I'll make a motion make a motion for approval of this, this petition as presented in the city's packet. Approval, yeah. So,
Is there a second?
So are we?
I think so. The issue is historically we've had to go back and vote twice. I guess we had to vote on 2 motions. Someone made a motion for denial, and I think the planning staff asked that we go back and make a motion for approval, and then.
So you're voting, you're making a motion to approve the city's recommendation, or you're making a motion to approve the
petition.
proposed
Okay,
petition?
yeah, okay.
I think we can
Yeah,
just,
so I would make a motion for approval of the motion as presented in the city's packet.
Which is
which is denial. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So motion for denial.
Deny the petition.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for a second on the
To deny the petition.
to deny the petition.
Unfortunately, I'm going to second.
Any additional comments commissioners might like to make? I would just agree with the concern around precedent, the fact that a city planner has thoroughly reviewed this, made the recommendation, and I think the intention behind the comprehensive plan should be honored here. So, all in favor of the motion?
Of denial. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you all. You'll have a chance to present this in front of council as well, and wish you luck. Next order of business is the petition of Edgewood Commercial Properties LLC and Brent Ridge Properties LLC to rezone approximately 1 103,000 acres located at 5612 and 5616 Edgewood Avenue from B3 Community Business District to B3C Community Business District Conditional, and R2 Low Medium Density Residential to B3C Community Business District Conditional, to amend previously approved proffers and to bring the current use of the site as a roofing company into compliance with the zoning ordinance.
The subject properties at 5612 and 5616 Edgewood Avenue contain approximately 1.1 acre. The purpose, as stated, is to amend previously approved proffers and to bring the use of the site as a roofing company into compliance with zoning. I was already mentioned, this is partial recommend for approval, partial recommend for denial. The front page does say approval. If you go to the actual motion recommendation, I've clarified that both are there. The city's future land use map recommends low-density residential uses for these properties. These are dominated by single-family detached housing at densities of up to 4 dwelling units per acre. The existing R2 low-medium density residential was established in 1978. The existing B3 and B3C community business district zonings were established in 2001. The property at 5612 Edgewood contains a one-story commercial building constructed in 1985. It's approximately 6,800 square feet in size and is currently occupied by perimeter roofing and exteriors. Approximately 8,900 square feet of paving, which you can see in the aerial photo there, also existed prior to the addition of the gravel lot, which you can also see. The property at 5616 Edgewood contains a single-family rental residence constructed in 1944. The structure is approximately 1,400 square feet. Over 15,000 square feet of gravel has been added to the rear of the subject properties and on the adjacent railroad property to allow for additional parking and drive aisle for the commercial use. The petitioner has a lease with Norfolk Southern Railway for limited use of the railway property for this encroaching gravel lot. The petitioner and property owner, one and the same, was issued a notice of violation in October for installing the gravel parking area and drive aisle without a site plan. It did not receive permits. It does not comply with the previously approved proffer on the B3C Community Business District portion and is partially located in the R2 low medium density residential district area. The properties are bordered to the north by residential uses, to the east by commercial uses, to the south by the railway property, and to the west by more residential uses. While the proposed use of the property at 5612 Edgewood Avenue does not currently agree with our future land use map recommendation of low-density residential, the property has been used commercially since 1985 when the existing structure was built. Perimeter roofing has occupied the space since 2019. The continued use of the property with the addition of the gravel lot should have little impact on the surrounding area. However, planning staff does have concerns regarding the expansion of the commercial zoning further into the existing residential neighborhood. Preserving and strengthening neighborhoods is a goal that's repeated throughout our comprehensive plan, and the potential for further commercial encroachment can alter the character and dynamic of a neighborhood. The property at 5616 has been a residence since 1944. The continued use of this property as a rental would have no negative impact and could provide a buffer between the commercial use of perimeter roofing and other residential uses in the area. The petitioner has submitted a voluntary proffer to limit the B3 district uses on the properties, but the continued use of this structure as a residence is not proffered. If the rezoning is approved as is, the residents could transition, or the site could be redeveloped to use the property with the house on it, for commercial uses by the petitioner or by one of their by right B3 district uses that is not excluded from the proffer list. And that would eliminate the buffer between the commercial site and neighboring residences. The city's technical review committee reviewed this petition on June 2nd. Compliance with the zoning ordinance, including buffering and stormwater management, would be addressed at the site plan phase. The planning division recommends approval of the rezoning for 5612 and denial of the petition for 5616. Thank you.
Who is here to speak on behalf of the petition? If you don't mind, please sign it again and state your name for the record.
Good evening again. We got the easy one out of the way first. This one's a little more complicated. So Mr. Pontana, who's here, owns both properties and is the owner of Perimeter Roofing, which is the business establishment which occupies the structure at 5612. So last year when he was cited, Mr. Pontana consulted with a contractor and asked to expand the parking. He actually asked the contractor, what city permitting do I need to have prior to doing that? And the contractor told him none, since he was not entering the city right away and not asking for a new entrance. Mr. Pontana took that gentleman at his word as a licensed contractor, and the work commenced. Obviously, it was against city ordinance for land disturbance, and then violated the previous proffers on the property, which Mr. Pontana was not aware of until he was cited by the city. He's had letters from the zoning office and been in communication with the zoning office since the time he was cited. He contacted Perkins and Orson, and then we submitted a rezoning plan, and that's why we're here, to try to get this whole mess squared away. Mr. Pontana also has a lease agreement with the railroad to allow the construction of the parking onto the railroad property. That's been provided to the city and as evidence, so that is in place. Mr. Pontana runs a well-respected business. You've probably seen his advertisements on TV and then billboards across the community. And I hope you've had a chance to go by the business. It's very neat, very tidy. He is not a nuisance to the neighborhood at all. And I think a well-respected business person here in town. And obviously none of this was done in spite of the city or, without asking the right questions. We're just here because a contractor made an assumption that was bad. Mr. Pontana also would like to keep the house as a rental. We did not proffer that it would stay an establishment, but for the foreseeable future, it will. He has a relative that is living in that house now, and he would like to keep it as a rental and possibly use it as people come and go from his establishment. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them at this time.
The railroad document, is that a lease, encroachment, easement? What is that?
It is a lease agreement for the
It
use
is?
of the property, yes.
Okay.
It is an annual fee that Mr. Patana will pay for the utilization of that property as a parking area.
Okay. Thanks.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of this petition? Please come up, state your name, and sign in, please.
Yeah, my name is John Caldwell. I live at 5617 Edgewood Avenue. You need me to sign this, you say?
Please.
Okay.
So you're directly across the street, correct?
Just about. I mean, from 5616, yeah. I'm the brick house, and Tom lives next to me in that gray house below me. He works for Phil, and he lives right there, and he goes to work with, with and everything too. Okay. Since they've been in that building for the roofing, Phil's kept the place really clean. He's always picking up trash from McDonald's and Waffle House, which that's a plus. What he's done to the lot and the house, he's improved it. I mean, he's made that place look good. I have no problem with what he wants to do. I figure the man owns the property. He should have the right to do what he wants. It's on that side of the street. It doesn't bother me one bit. So it's a nice neighborhood. I mean, everybody over there gets along. And all. He's helped me come over. I had a problem with my roof. He came over and helped me out with it. He's a really nice fellow. I mean, so it's just, like I said, when he cleared that lot and those trees out and all, I think it looks 100% better. And then took that fence down and got rid of those trees there, and it was all weaved into the fence. It looks 100% better being open. He's made that lot look real pretty, and he's kept the grass cut. And, he had it fertilized, and like I said, I have no problem with what he wants to do.
Did they just recently, the rental house beside it, hasn't that had a lot of modifications to that in the last year to 2 years?
About 2 years, I think. I don't remember exactly when he bought the house. But he's remodeled inside the house, redid the plumbing, redid the walls, did a lot of work, put a new roof, put a new tin roof on the house. He's he's got air conditioning units around it, so it's, he's got air in each room in the house, so it's heat and air. He's made the driveway look really nice over there across the street. I mean, like I said, it looks really nice. He put siding on it. It looks good. So, like I said, I have no problem. My home was a brick home, so, but that house actually used to be on Ward's Road where the bank was originally, and it got moved down there when Mr. Nash sold the property. So that's what I was told by my parents and everything. We've been there. I was born and raised in that neighborhood in '58. I'm 60, almost 68 years old. In about another few days. I mean, I got married and moved away, and then got divorced. Ended up moving back in the house. Both my parents are dead.
Well, thank you for sharing your voice with us. I think it's important that you are standing up for in support of the petition. So I appreciate you sharing your thoughts
welcome.
here. Thank you.
Huh?
Is there anyone else here that would like to speak in favor of the petition? Yes, sir.
How are you guys? My name is Philip Pantana. You guys want me to put my phone number and address on here too?
I think just your name is fine. Thank you.
Yes, I'm here to just represent the project and speak in favor of it. We've been there since 2019. It's served us well. We remodeled the entire, the 5612 building. We went in and remodeled everything and put a new roof on it. You know, we were, the reason why, the main reason that I wanted to add the gravel was I needed a service road around the building because all of our trailers were getting bottlenecked in the back and it was causing a real problem. So I don't remember when I purchased 5616. It might have been 3 or 4 years ago. The reason that I wanted that property is because that whole grassy area where the tree is, all that's already B3, even though it's part of the residential lot. So it's got like basically half of it is already B3 and the other half is, I think, R2, where the house sits. And I needed a service road, and so I knew that I would be okay to put a service road there, and so it worked out. But the B3 goes all the way up almost to the next to the residential home already.
So, a little clarity on that. So, Rachel also is so this is a dual zone property? You're saying B3 and R2?
The portion where the house is R2. The grassy area between the house and the driveway is B3C.
I see the divisions on here on the overhead map. So the vertical driveway coming down actually does fall in a usable space, is that right? The B3, but we just can't use the wraparound that goes behind the R2, is that right?
So the driveway does fall into the business portion. The part of the proffers that exist are in relation to parking. So, you know, yeah, maybe the driveway is permitted in the commercial portion. However,
The
the
wraparound on
parking
the
is
back.
not permitted in that portion at all right now. So
Are you parking in it or using it just as a through?
Just as
Now,
a pass-through around the building.
so the house, I see that driveway wraps around the back of the house there onto the same lease as the railroad, you know, coming along there. So I assume you're parking trucks there and equipment and stuff there. Is that right?
So are you talking about the area behind the residence?
Mm-hmm.
That's really just overflow for when we finish a job and guys come in at the end of the day, they just need a place to park their trucks and their trailers before
But
they
you
come pick them up.
can't do that in that, right? Is that what we're saying, Rachel? Because that's R2.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So
So
the house is in violation, but the thoroughfare is not. But the parking, you know, storage area is. Is that what we're looking at?
I guess if the driveway was there without the parking, if it were truly just wrapping around, zoning may have looked at it differently.
It'd be
Maybe
fine.
that part would not have been in violation, but
But
mean-
the parking, you know, storage area is in violation.
right. As well as I would say that part in the front is, I mean, that,
I don't care what you use it for. I mean, if it's my property, I'd park my trucks there, you know, until I got fined by the city, you know. But that being said, it is, I mean, if it's in the R2, then yeah, you can't put your stuff there. But the thoroughfare, yeah, it looks like you can use that.
Well, the reason that we requested the rezoning is so that we could continue to park those
Right,
there.
yeah, I see what you're saying, right. But you're rezoning that house to,
Yeah, right now I know it's, I don't think it's an official proffer, but if you added a proffer and you approved the rezoning, where the house would have to continue to be a residential, then as far as the future use of that would be restrictive of putting a commercial building on there because you'd have to keep the house as a residence.
yeah, so long as the conditional use is in effect. And does that,
Hey, Chuck, can we get through the public hearing part?
I'm sorry, I assumed we were there already. I'm totally missing it, so, yeah, my apologies.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys have any questions for me about the history of?
Lose track of these things. You know. Thank you, Dave.
Okay. Hey, I appreciate it.
Thanks for Dave's clarification there. Get this back on track.
I mean, I was enamored. I got to be honest. Is there? That's on me. I apologize. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak in favor of the petition? Okay. Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition? Okay. Seeing none, at this point, the public hearing is closed. Commissioners, you are now offered the opportunity to ask any questions or follow up any of the conversation we've had.
Okay, where were we now, Dave?
No, I think you're right on track with what we're discussing. So if we were to recommend approval for the first part but not the second part, Rachel, what would have to change would be the overflow parking behind the house, but not necessarily the access driveway next to the building.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah, so that's and
you would need to remove the parking storage area, whatever you call that.
and what does that mean, remove? Do they reseed it? Do they, I mean, what
They
is?
need to take the gravel up and reseed it.
Yeah, okay.
Now, what you might be able to do is, since you've got a lease with the railroad, I assume it follows where you put all that gravel. You know, that's still available. I mean, that's zoned for whatever.
So you're saying like split the
Yeah, you just got to take that 20 feet off or whatever. You could still use that lower section for storage, technically. Yeah.
Behind the house, or less than half the gravel behind the
Right.
house.
Does that go beyond intent?
I'm not sure that would be the case. So usually when there's, right, I mean, this is a peculiar thing. We've got railroad right of way, essentially. Believe what would happen is if whatever's adjoining is kind of the zoning that right of way absorbs, if that makes sense.
Well, the railroads are kind of their own quasi-government.
They are. I'm not sure
agencies.
how zoning would look at that, and I don't want to get into too many crazy hypotheticals because we could do that for a long time. But yeah, I mean, I don't know that would still be valuable.
Could the percentage of what I think is a B1, whatever 5612 is, and a portion of 5616, could that business, that B zoning, the percentage of that be increased for the lot? I mean, can you, like, say it's 1/3 business, 1/3 R2. I don't know what it is exactly, but I mean, if you were to increase the if you were to make like an L-shaped business zone in the back, is that?
I wouldn't support that because you're still encroaching towards the residences. It's a roundabout. I mean, it's a roundabout approach to, it doesn't solve the spirit of the
And really,
issue.
yeah, I think you're right. But really, I mean, truthfully, if you look at it, the angle throws it off. But if you look at the overhead, probably 25% of that gravel area is all that can't be used potentially. Yeah, so then you got 50 to 75% of that graveled area you could still use behind the residence as long as it stays in the railroad area. You know, because the railroad's got its own zoning, and you've got a lease to use it for what you're using it for now on the other lot too. So I don't know why it would change.
Norm, did you guys measure that at all? Do you know that? That distance?
I don't have a good dimension
Oh, okay.
on how much.
It looks identical almost when you're at the house, but to do that, it would get around the zoning question.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry.
sure, yeah, come on up.
When we were measuring, I didn't realize that there was an offset from the curb. You know, like when you look at the yellow lines from the curb, I was measuring from the curb back. That's why the gravel went further back than I had intended it to. I was trying to be in compliance with where the railroad land met and the yard, but I went over because I didn't know to take off that. What is the offset from the curb?
Speaking of the distance from the
it's
back
not
of the
a set
curb to the
amount.
right-of-way line.
It's not a set
So they
amount.
took the sideline and started from the curb and went
That's how I measured it. And so that's why I'm over. But I think it's only around 10 to 12 feet because Kevin Henry was there and he measured it and it wasn't much. I think part of it is the water management. So some of them, I mean, we don't know how that's going to end up, but they'd already said I might lose some of that anyway to try to help, with the water coming down. What I wanted to avoid is I don't want to be a nuisance to the neighbors. And I don't want my trucks on the street. I don't want my trailers on the street. I don't want my trucks and trailers to be visible to the neighbors. So one of the reasons why I did what I did was to try to keep the neighborhood nice because I don't want all my stuff everywhere. The other thing too is I have equipment and tools and materials that get left in vehicles. And the closer they are to the road, I've had loitering issues. I have homeless people living down on the railroad tracks. And so it's taken a lot for us. That's why I like someone living in that home because I want somebody looking out. That's why I like John because John's neighborhood watch and he's always looking out for me. And so I would like to try to keep things the way they are because I think once I add privacy trees along that fence line, the neighbor that just moved in next door is a brand new neighbor. So to them, nothing has changed from their perspective. They just bought that house. So they wouldn't know the difference either way. As long as I put up privacy trees, they're not going to see the trailers and the trucks.
Rachel, can you pull up the overhead on the photo overhead? Can you zoom in a bit? Well, the one that with the red, it's page 10 out of 16? Page 10? No, you got to with the overhead GIS.
The red with the overhead GIS. I don't have the
It looks like that.
I don't have that photo in this.
You don't have that? Okay. Okay, so let's just use that one. What I'm suggesting is basically what we're talking about is this is not a problem, right? This is the problem. But rather than rezoning this, which is what we're debating right now, just get rid of that. And this is deceptive because when you rotate this overhead, you actually gain probably this much more. I don't know what the actual distance is on this, but you can see the trucks parked here. You've got the room. If you have, this is your railroad lease here. Even if this is disapproved, you've still got the use of all of this. You can park your trucks.
Yeah, Rachel, I think if you go to the site plan, it shows exactly, you can see up there next to the trees, the ratio or the comparatively the little bit that's on the residential property versus the amount that's on the railroad property.
The bulk of your parking area is in the railroad lease.
Yeah.
Which you're using it for anyway on the adjacent parcel, so there shouldn't be an issue parking the trucks there.
Yeah.
In that overhead, there's a pretty large tree on the part that is currently B3 that your driveway is coming through. On this, you don't have that tree labeled. Is that tree planning on coming down? Are you planning to take that down?
I hate that tree.
Because you can take it down and you can use that space.
I left it there because my sister wanted it because
Okay.
she lives in the house. What kind of tree is that again?
It's a magnolia.
Magnolia. So the leaves don't go anywhere. They just stay everywhere, blow everywhere, and so it's a nuisance. But I left it there because I also think it kind of hid things.
A little cover.
And it was some cover. My original intent before all of this happened was I had a landscaping plan in mind, and I was going to basically put privacy trees right along the gravel edge so that it protected the resident.
To see behind it.
Yeah, so that when you look back, you're not staring at gravel. But then when all this happened, I was like, okay, I'm putting all that on hold until we figure it out. We wouldn't lose a ton there. I think the unknown to me is the whole water management thing, which was a big concern to zoning. And so, I knew in my mind I was probably going to lose. They said anywhere between 20 and 30 feet of that area anyway, if they had to put in a swell and I'd have to grass it. If I have to do that, I just don't know. I don't know how the guys are going to get in and out, like with trailers and stuff. I just don't know. Maybe we need to sketch it out and look at it just so I can understand how it would work. What I didn't want to do is have to expand the gravel on the B3 area towards the street where the magnolia tree is, because technically where the magnolia tree is, that's B3. So I think that the zoning is about 10 feet away from the side porch of the house. So that's how far B3 goes to the house. So I wanted to leave a lot of that grass just because I want it to look pretty. And I've invested a lot of money. I hired a professional to come in. They take care of the grass. I want it to be the greenest grass in the neighborhood. Because for me, it's about first impressions. When customers come to my business, I want them to see that we're professional and that we do things top notch so that they want to hire us. I think first impressions are super important.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen the business.
Yeah.
You have made a markable improvement over the last few years, because I think, was it a carpet operation in there prior to you? And then, of course, right beside that is where it used to be a bakery and a beauty salon. I guess the beauty salon is still in that building that's got the red top on it. Do you all own that too? Or?
I don't. I know the owner. It's kind of a multi-use right now. He's got the salon in there, and his daughter, I think, stores some of her cleaning equipment in there. But yeah, I mean, there even when I first moved in behind the building you're referencing, there was trash everywhere. There was homeless people living back there. I went back there and cleaned all that up. I pulled all the underbrush out. It's just something that's important to me. And it's kind of a full-time job keeping up with the property. And that's just been sort of my pet hobby that I do at the business, just because nobody else is focused on it. So I'm usually out picking up sticks and trash, and just whenever I come by, you just do a little bit at a time, and somehow it all works out.
It's been a lot of improvement there. It really has.
Yeah, Central Virginia Flooring operated in my building prior. I know those owners. I'm good friends with the owners. I bought it from one of their parents who owned the property. Before that, it was another carpet place. I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, it's been a Dolphin Flooring is what it was called. And it's been a carpet place for a long time. Yeah.
I think it looks real good now. I travel that road 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Where your building really adds to that area.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it means a lot because we put a lot of hard work into it.
Have you asked any opinions from the Scanlongs at 5620?
I'm sorry, what was it again?
The last, what I saw, the Scanlongs, I think are the people that purchased 5620.
The
Next
house right
door?
next to 5616?
Correct. Have you spoken with them?
I have not met them. John has met them.
Okay.
I think they moved in, 2 months ago? Yeah,
Yeah.
a couple months ago.
Yeah, I was curious if they had spoken with anybody and or if they were going to be here today.
To be honest with you, it's just 3 houses, roughly 3 houses that owners.
Right.
The rest of it's renters.
Right. Well, their lot lines, I mean, their property is only 50 feet wide.
Yeah.
So I think part of the concern that is kind of here with the 5616 is if the entirety of 16 is B3, what's going to say in 10 years if you guys want to expand and you build quite a large building that encroaches much closer to 5620? I mean, that's a possibility at this point. So I think personally 5616 is a good buffer the way it sits, because it does kind of keep that separation between the business and the community at that point in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hard pressed to support a vacant lot being converted from R2 to B3. There's no way I'm supporting one that has an existing structure, house on it, being converted from residential to business. And I think we've already discussed how the impact is not huge. And I think the planning staff has done a nice job of splitting the petition, supporting part of it and not supporting the other part. And I support the way it's being presented.
I agree. And first blush, the zoning issue at the back of that residential property looks like it probably, the resolution might not be as difficult as it seems. Maybe just get rid of that. So I want to make a motion. We approve the petition to rezone 5612 Edgewood Avenue from B3 to B3C and deny the petition to rezone 5616 Edgewood from R2 to B3C, consistent with what the city's recommended.
Are there any additional comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Yeah. Motion carries. Thank you all, and again, you'll have an opportunity to present this in front of council, so we appreciate your time. Any other business?
None today. You will not have a meeting in 2 weeks, so
We will not.
we will not. Enjoy your summer break.
Okay. Motion to adjourn? All right, meeting's adjourned. Thank you all.